We're in Beamsville, Ontario on the Niagara Escarpment. My name's Bob Mackie. I'm the owner of Mackie's Mountain Archery here on Zimmerman Road in Beamsville. Over the next few segments we're going to try and tell our story here with the fight we've had with the Niagara Escarpment Commission. I had worked for Lafarge Construction Materials for 29 years and was diagnosed with a congenital heart problem, aortic stenosis, and I had to have corrective heart surgery. So I purchased this 9-acre property that I bought from a friend, and I'd used this property myself since 1965, so I was very familiar with it. And I was aware of the commercial activity that was on this property for the past 50 years. As you look around, you see there's a plantation of trees behind me that was funded by the Ministry of Natural Resources that I planted in partnerships with Landcare Niagara. And then the rest of the property, trees I've planted on my own is becoming a mature escarpment forest. As you look around this property, it's hard to believe that this property was a cow pasture at one time. And it's hard to believe that the region of Niagara has zoned this a prime agricultural tender fruit growing land, when in reality it's karst. Underground flow all through this property. There's caves and sinkholes and depressions and different features all over this property. Can't be used for agriculture because it won't support the agricultural equipment. They've tagged it agricultural, yet when I searched the government databases, I joined an environmental risk assessment group, and they did a search all government databases, and they've tagged this as park recreational land, which it looks much like that now. Very, very nice, quiet piece of property. So this was my goal when I retired, was that I was familiar with the land because I'd used it since 1965, and I wanted to plant trees, remove all these invasive species. We reintroduced native species trees to the property in the Carolinian forest, and over the last few years we've noticed a bunch of native species birds and animals moving back into the property. So this was my goal, and it was working quite well until the Niagara Escarpment stuck their nose in, and as a result of the complaint from a neighbor. And they refused to recognize the benefit that I supply for the environment, for the community, and for our special needs community.
Well, they tell us everything's alright, and we just go along. How can we fall asleep at night when something's clearly wrong? When we can feed a starving world with what we throw away, but all we serve are empty words that always taste the same. We must stand together.
What I want to do as this story unfolds is try and convey to you how bizarre the circumstances were that led up to where we are now. I said I retired in 2004 and had corrective heart surgery in 2000. In 2005 I had an opportunity to purchase 2 portable classrooms from the local Board of Education, which is only minutes from here below the escarpment. And I thought it'd be a perfect opportunity to have a place warm and dry and comfortable for our youth, special needs, and people with other disabilities to take advantage of the sport of archery. Archery is a sport that has very few physical limitations. We have young people here. We start them at 4 years old. We have people with acquired brain injuries. My son is 36 years old now and has an acquired brain injury he received in 2007. Actually, the day we built the wheelchair ramp, that's when my son went into the hospital. It's suffered a brain injury during transplant surgery. So all that happens on this property is good things. We supply a service for the community. We reforest the property, enhancing wildlife habitat by removing invasive species, planting native trees. We must have 500 or 600 black walnut trees, trees from the Carolinian forest, white pines, nannyberries. Anyway, the list goes on. Carolinian poplar. There's all kinds of trees. It's when the Niagara Escarpment Commission got involved, their planner come out here, and like a good citizen, I want to be part of the community. I invited them in to show them what a good job I was doing. But what he did is just take inventory of everything he found on the property, and then because he has 5 official plans to draw from, the Niagara Escarpment Planning and Development Act, the provincial policy statement, the official plan of the town of Lincoln, the Niagara Regional Regional Municipal of Niagara official plan to draw from, they can take and build a case against you whether or not you're harming the environment or doing, or no matter what you're doing. But what the problem is that they want a permit for everything on private property, and that in itself is illegal, which we will prove later on. This building falls within the criteria of the Niagara Escarpment Planning and Development Act. It's a portable classroom. It meets all the specifications the year it was built. It is far below their height requirement of 14 feet. The cross-section of people that use this facility would justify its existence alone, because there's no environmental degradation with this building being here or this archery range. Yeah, this property and this home that's on this property, my home, was the help house for the Zimmerman farm. Originally this was attached to the farm across the road, which is a dairy farm. The gentleman that owned that, Mr. Alan Peckham, he purchased the Zimmerman homestead when he got out of the Air Force in 1945. He farmed until 1961 and then retired, and since the Zimmerman Road offered a natural severance, he severed off the 10 acres on the east side of the road and moved from the farmhouse up to the help house, and where he ran a logging business on this property. There, I said before, there was very few trees here. It was originally a cow pasture. He harvested black walnut, black cherry, and maple veneer logs from around the Niagara Peninsula and along the Niagara Escarpment. Handled all the treetops on this property. Submerged them in underwater for a year, and then the logs were shipped from this property around the world to Germany, Japan, and England for veneer logs for fine furniture. So and I have witness statements with the people that he did business with. So that shows us that there was a pre-existing commercial use here. So when the Niagara Escarpment Commission showed up here after the complaint, I invited them in to show them what a good job I was doing, and they suggested that I fill out a development permit application at their suggestion, and that was something I shouldn't have done. I was already in operation for 3 years, and now I was going to ask for permission from them, an arm's-length agency with no enforcement authority. They're an arm's-length agency of the Ministry of Natural Resources. I was going to ask them for permission to continue what I was already doing. The community was in full support of what I was doing and well aware of what I was doing, and they took no issue with it. The Niagara Escarpment's planner suggestion, I filled out a development permit application. I got some help from a planner, and it was all done property. And we submitted it, and I thought, okay, I'm going to pay a couple $100 here, and then we'll be good to go. We'll be back in. back in business and then accepted by the commission as well. But that wasn't the case. They refused the application, saying that it failed. That archery was an unlisted activity on agricultural land. Well, we've already established that it's zoned agricultural, but there's no way you can participate in agriculture on this land. Actually, my tractor, as I was cutting the grass there one day, it dropped right out of sight, right down through the ground into one of the sinkholes that's caused by underwater flow, or underground flow. So we submitted that, and they refused it. Then we resubmitted again with some amendments to it. They refused it again. Then we filed an appeal with the Niagara Escarpment Hearing Office, which is another finger on the same hand. And we were going to go there with a lawyer and show our case. We had dozens of people from the community that we're going to present in support of the youth and the special needs that we provide recreation for. Then when I did some research, I found that the commission, or the Niagara Escarpment Hearing Office, had never overruled a decision by the commission. And I thought to myself, something stinks here. Nobody has a perfect batting average. And these meetings here have never been, to my knowledge, have never been seen by the public until I started to post them. So it was a number of weeks, and then we heard back from the Niagara Escarpment Hearing Office, and they upheld the NEC's decision. So I wasn't going to close down. I had too much invested. This is my property. Everything we do here is right. I mean, if they needed a piece of paper, the Niagara Escarpment Commission needed a piece of paper in their filing cabinet so they could sleep at night. I'm sure that there's a way that they could make that happen. Nothing here is illegal. Nothing here is out of place. It's a nice, quiet activity in a nice, quiet escarpment location.
The right thing to guide us is right here inside us. No one can divide us when the light is near.